Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. This time, we're taking a closer look at malas and japa, and we'll be using some really insightful information from the Devi Mandir website for this one.
Yeah, that website is like a gold mine of information on Hindu practices and philosophy. I mean, it's amazing.
Right. You don't have to be like a scholar or anything to understand it.
Exactly.
So let's dive right in. First things first. What exactly is a mala?
Well, okay, yeah. So a mala it is a string of beads, but it's more than just a pretty necklace.
Right. I thought that at first, too.
Yeah. The Devi Mandir website describes it as a tool for prayer and meditation, kind of like a rosary in Catholicism.
Oh, okay.
And, each bead is used to count the repetitions of a mantra during japa meditation.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of japa, I noticed on the website they mentioned the Sanskrit origin of the word japamala, meaning garland of mantras. So it's kind of like a garland, but for your spiritual practice.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. And japa itself refers to the practice of continuously reciting a mantra to quiet the mind and connect more deeply with the divine. You can do it either out loud or silently.
So it's not just about having the mala, it's about actively engaging with it through japa.
Exactly. The mala is like this physical reminder of your intention and helps you stay focused during your practice.
Okay, I got it. But how do you even choose a mantra to use? There are so many out there. Where do you even start?
That's a good question. Devi Mandir actually has some advice on this. They suggest finding inspiration from someone who already embodies the qualities you are trying to cultivate.
Oh, okay, so if I'm working on like inner peace,
Mm.
and I know someone who seems really peaceful, I can see what mantras they use.
Yeah, exactly. It's about finding what speaks to you.
Okay. So let's say I found my mantra and I'm ready to start practicing japa. Are there any specific times or places that are like better for japa, or is it anytime, anywhere?
That's one of the things I really appreciate about Devi Mandir. They really emphasize how accessible the practice is. Yeah.
They basically say there's no wrong time or place to connect with the divine. You can practice anywhere, anytime.
Oh, wow. So no meditation room required.
Not at all. Although, finding a quiet and peaceful environment can help to deepen your practice.
Right, that makes sense. So what about when you're actually in a temple? Are there specific things you can do to make japa even more powerful?
The Devi Mandir website talks about how important preparatory practices are, like chanting certain mantras and making
Oh,
offerings.
interesting.
Yeah, this is thought to create a more sacred and focused environment for your meditation.
So it's like setting the scene for a really powerful practice.
Okay, so, but what about the benefits? I mean, what can you expect from consistently practicing japa with a mala? Does it just make you feel more peaceful, or are there, like, actual benefits?
Oh, it definitely brings inner peace, but it goes way beyond that. Devi Mandir explains that focusing your attention through japa can actually help you to be more efficient in all areas of your life.
Really? How does chanting a mantra help you to be more efficient at work?
Well, how often do you make a mistake because your mind is all over the
Oh, yeah, all the time.
right? Japa helps to train the mind to stay present, which can help you to focus and concentrate in other areas of your life.
Oh, so it's like mental workout.
Exactly, like
Yeah.
building those mental muscles. And as you get better at focusing your mind through japa, you might find yourself less stressed in daily life and have a deeper sense of inner peace, which really just helps everything.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Devi Mandir seems to be really good at, like, explaining these things in a way that actually makes sense.
They are, and they address things that people are often worried about, like, will this have any negative side effects?
Oh, right, like I'm going to need to shave my head and live in a monastery or something. Count me out.
Exactly. They actually address that with a bit of humor and reassure readers that they don't have to make any big life changes unless you really feel called to do so.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But speaking of feeling cold, do you need to, like, be initiated or something before you start practicing japa? Do you need to find a guru and have a ceremony?
A lot of people ask that. Devi Mandir explains that initiation is not necessary to actually get started with the practice. It's more like falling in love and then getting married. First, you fall in love with the practice, and then later on, you might decide to formalize your commitment through initiation.
So you explore it and see if it's for you before you make any big commitments.
I like that.
But if you don't have a guru to get you started, how do you know you're even doing it right?
That's where intuition comes in.
Oh, okay.
Devi Mandir has this really playful way of putting it. They say choosing the right mantra is like knowing when you're in love. You just know.
So go with what feels right, what speaks to your soul.
Exactly.
Okay. Before we go too far into mantras, maybe we should talk about some other aspects of malas and japa. I'm curious about the number of beads on a mala. Is there a specific reason for that?
You know, that's a great question. The number of beads on a mala is not random. It's very symbolic. Most malas have 108 beads, and there are a lot of interpretations of that number. Some people say that it represents the 108 Upanishads, which are these ancient Hindu scriptures.
Oh, okay.
And then others connect it to the 108 energy lines that converge at the heart chakra.
Oh, wow.
There are even astronomical interpretations linking it to the distance between the Earth and the Sun and the Moon.
That's incredible. It really is fascinating how much symbolism and depth there is in just a simple string of beads.
Yeah, it really is. And that's what makes malas so interesting, you know? They aren't just tools for meditation, they're also objects of contemplation and reflection.
Okay, I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Do you have any practical tips for, like, actually staying focused during japa? Let's be real.
Yeah.
My mind tends to wander a lot.
Oh, I hear you. That's a pretty common experience. You know, Devi Mandir doesn't really get into specific techniques, but they do stress the importance of consistency.
Oh.
The more you practice, the easier it will become to gently guide your mind back to the mantra when it wanders.
So it's about patience and self-compassion as much as focus.
Absolutely. It's not about forcing your mind to be silent. It's about creating space for that inner stillness to emerge on its own.
Okay, that makes me feel better. But I'm sure there are some people out there who would be, like, skeptical about the whole mala and japa thing.
Oh, yeah.
They might think it's too mystical or too out there for them.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think that it's important to remember that at its core, japa is really just a practice for focusing the mind. And I mean, honestly, with all of the distractions we have these days, I think we could all use a little bit more mental clarity.
Right. It's like a digital detox, but for your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like overhaul your entire life to incorporate japa.
Oh, good.
Devi Mandir is really good about emphasizing that. You can practice in a way that feels comfortable for you, whether that's for 5 minutes before bed or maybe a longer session in the morning, you know. It's about figuring out what works for you.
That's really reassuring. It's not about adding more stress to an already really busy life.
Exactly. And I think the Devi Mandir website is such a great resource for anyone who wants to learn more. They present such valuable information, all in a really clear and easy to understand way.
I was going to ask about that. On the Devi Mandir website, there are teachings from this spiritual teacher, Swamiji.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
Oh, his teachings are one of the best parts of the website. He's just incredible at explaining those complex spiritual concepts in a way that's really profound, but also easy to understand.
So he's like translating ancient wisdom for the modern world.
Yes, he really is. And he uses these relatable analogies and examples from everyday life to make those ancient teachings relevant to us today.
I'd love to hear more about his teachings. What are some of the topics he covers?
He covers a huge range of topics related to Hindu philosophy, spirituality, and practice. Everything from the nature of consciousness to the importance of living a life of purpose.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And it's all offered for free on the Devi Mandir website.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? It shows how dedicated they are to sharing these practices and making them accessible to everyone.
It's like they're saying, come on in, the water is fine. We want to share this with everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And they do it with such a sense of joy and generosity. It's really inspiring.
I was just thinking, for someone of Swamiji's spiritual stature, it must seem like such a basic thing to be explaining the intricacies of malas and japa.
You know, that's a good point. But I think that just goes to show his humility and his commitment to serving others. He's not afraid to answer the, seemingly simple questions because he understands that everyone is on their own unique journey.
Yeah, that's a really valuable perspective. Sometimes I think we get so caught up in the complexities that we forget about the power of simple things.
Yeah, for sure. And Swamiji just seems to have this gift for bringing us back to the heart of these practices and reminding us that it's not about mastering all these difficult techniques. It's about cultivating a deeper connection with ourselves and the divine.
Well said. That's what I really appreciate about Devi Mandir. They create such a welcoming space for people to explore these practices, you know. You don't feel intimidated or overwhelmed.
Exactly. They present everything in a way that's really informative, but also inspiring, and they offer so many different resources to support people along the way.
You mentioned that they have online satsanga. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. Satsanga is a Sanskrit word that basically means gathering of like-minded souls. It's a time for people who are interested in spirituality to come together and share their experiences, learn from each other, and just deepen their practice.
Oh, so it's like a virtual community for spiritual growth and support.
Exactly. And Devi Mandir offers online satsanga sessions led by Swamiji himself.
Wow, that's really cool. I bet those sessions are really insightful.
I'm sure they are. It's like having direct access to this wise and compassionate teacher who can guide you on your spiritual journey.
I'm just really impressed with everything Devi Mandir offers. From the articles and videos to the online satsanga and downloads of sacred texts, it's like a one-stop shop for everything spiritual.
It is, and they offer it all without any expectation of payment or commitment.
That's pretty amazing. It speaks volumes about their sincerity and their desire to share these ancient teachings.
It really does. It's a beautiful testament to the power of generosity and the transformative potential of these practices.
I feel so inspired by all of this, like I've just discovered this whole new world.
That's the beauty of a spiritual journey. It's a constant process of discovery and growth.
So besides satsanga, are there any other online resources that Devi Mandir offers?
They have a huge library of articles and videos covering all kinds of topics from, the basics of meditation and mantra to deeper explanations of Hindu philosophy and mythology.
They really do cover everything.
They do. And they even have free downloads of sacred texts and chants.
That's incredible. It's like they're giving away these ancient treasures for free.
Yeah. And that's really the spirit in which they offer it. It's about sharing this wisdom and allowing it to benefit as many people as possible.
I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed by all this information, but, in a good way.
I know what you mean. It is a lot to process,
Hmm.
but you don't have to absorb it all at once. Take it one step at a time and see what resonates with you.
That's good advice. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of learning something new and want to do it all at once.
Right. But sometimes the best way to learn is to just let the information sink in and see what happens.
That's so true. It's like planting a seed and letting it grow in its own time.
I love that analogy. And, speaking of growth, I'm curious to know what you think about something we talked about earlier, that idea of finding a guru or a role model. Do you think that you need a physical guru to make progress on your spiritual path?
That's a great question, and it's something I've been thinking about too. I think it really depends on the person. Some people may find it really helpful to have a physical guru, someone that they can learn from directly
Mhm.
and get guidance from. But for other people, their guru might be more of an energetic presence or a source of inspiration that guides them from within.
Yeah, I agree. It's about finding that connection that works for you, that helps you to go deeper into your practice and your understanding.
And that connection can come from so many different places, right? It could
Yeah.
be a teacher, a book, a website like Devi Mandir, or even nature itself.
For sure. It's all about being open to receiving guidance from wherever it comes, and sometimes the most unexpected sources can offer the most profound wisdom.
Like nature as a guru.
Yeah. Isn't that a cool idea?
It really is.
Nature has so much to teach us about interconnectedness, balance, and the cycles of life.
It's like this huge living library of wisdom that we can all explore.
And the best part is that it's available to everyone. You don't need any special qualifications or anything to tap into nature's wisdom.
You're right. That's a really nice reminder that a spiritual path isn't about being exclusive or elite. It's about opening ourselves up to the wisdom that's all around us.
I love that. I think that's a great place to start for this part of our deep dive.
All right, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into malas and japa. Before we go, I want to highlight some of the key things we talked about for our listeners. What are some of the main points you're hoping people take away from all of this?
I think one of the most important takeaways is how accessible the practices of malas and japa are. You don't have to be a Hindu or some kind of spiritual expert to benefit from them.
Yeah, I agree. It's not about fitting into some mold or following all these strict rules.
Yeah, it's more about finding a practice that speaks to you personally and figuring out how to make it a part of your life in a way that feels genuine to you.
That brings up another really important point: consistency. Just like with any skill, the more you practice japa, the more you will get out of it.
Exactly. Even if you only have a few minutes a day, making it a part of your routine can make a big difference.
And it's not about being perfect either.
Oh, right.
Some days our minds are going to be calm and focused, and other days it's going to be total chaos.
That's so true, and it's totally normal. I think the important thing is to be patient with yourself and, Not judge yourself too harshly. It's not about completely getting rid of all thoughts. It's more about learning how to gently bring your attention back to the mantra when it wanders.
So it's a journey of self-discovery as much as it is a spiritual practice.
Exactly. And one of the things that make this journey so great is that there's always something new to discover.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the Devi Mandir website and all of the amazing resources they have. What would you recommend for people who want to learn more about malas and japa and Hindu spirituality? Where should they start?
Well, the Devi Mandir website is honestly a great place to start. They have so much great information, and it's all presented in a way that is clear, engaging, and easy for anyone to understand.
And they have so much: articles, videos, online satsanga, even downloads of sacred texts.
I know, it's really amazing, and it just shows how dedicated they are to sharing these ancient practices.
It's like they're opening a door to a whole new world of spiritual exploration.
Yeah, and they do it with so much generosity and kindness. It's really beautiful.
Well, I think we have covered a lot today. We have gone over the basics of malas and japa, explored some of the symbolism and benefits of those practices, and even talk a little bit about finding a guru or a role model for our spiritual journey.
It has been such a great conversation.
It really has. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Oh, it is my pleasure.
And thank you to all of our listeners for coming along on this deep dive with us. We hope that you have learned some valuable things today and that you feel inspired to keep going on your spiritual journeys.
Remember, the journey is yours to create, explore, experiment, and most importantly, enjoy the ride.
So well said. And if you are looking for more guidance and support, don't forget about the Devi Mandir website. They really do have everything you need to learn more about malas and japa and the power of Hindu spirituality.
It's a treasure trove of wisdom, just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. And with that, we are going to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep shining your light.